Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Hear me? Okay? Cool. Thanks.
So just as quickly as we saw an almost KL city shattering performance from the 4x100 meters freestyle relay squad last night, we are back in the pool again with those swimmers, especially Danny and Joe, involved in the morning heats for day 3 of competition from the Bukit Jalil Aquatic Center. This is swimming as we have a look at the warm-up pool and Joe Schooling getting ready for the first event, which of course is the 100 meters butterfly, the event that has made him a huge name all around the world. They call him the Phelps beater. Everywhere else in the world, we call him Singapore's very own Joseph Schooling, because we've known that his ability for the longest time already, and he said it at the press conference himself at the Olympic Games, it was all built from his confidence being taken from being able to swim and compete and win in the regional states of the Seagames and then the Asian Games before he took to it. So the 100 meters butterfly heats will go first, and then the women's 100 meters freestyle, the men's 200 meters freestyle, and the women's 50 meters butterfly. There's also the men's 200 meters backstroke, but there are only 6 competitors in that, so that goes straight to the final. And in the evening in itself, we will end with the women's 4x200 meters freestyle relay. Singapore winning the first 2 relays already in the 400 in terms of the men's and women's in days 2 and 1 respectively. So a lot of them with a Schooling sighting. Because of that, the crowd, especially the schools, have come out. And there's also a sighting of a certain Daniel Bego. We'll talk a little bit more about him in a while, because he is featured as well in the 200 meters freestyle. Dylan Koo getting ready to come on for the men's 100 meters butterfly as Gerald joins me once again from the Bukit Jalil Aquatic Center. And of course, a lot of people in Kuala Lumpur are excited about this race, because it's for the very first time in swimming at the Southeast Asian Games that we welcome an Olympic champion in an event.
Morning, Mark. Absolutely. You know, I think that the crowds are going to be packed this evening. Everyone's out here to see Joe Schooling. Hopefully, he'll put up a good show for everyone to see.
Right. You're also particularly looking forward to the 200 meters freestyle, which features Danny Yeo and Pang Sheng Jin. But of course, the hot favorite there will be Wilson, who looked very impressive on day 1 in swimming the 400 meters freestyle, and also looked equally impressive in taking Malaysia home yesterday to a silver medal in the 4x100.
Yeah, that's out of today's schedule. I think that's the one that I'm looking forward most to. As you mentioned, right, Wilson, I think he's looking really good. The 200 is a tough event to swim. It's not really a sprint. It's not really a long distance event. So you know, not many people can do well and can excel in that event. So, but I think Wilson has obviously, we've seen he's won the 400 meters. He's done really well yesterday in the 100 meter sprint. So, you know, he is someone that I would expect that would go really quick in that event. And hopefully Danny Yeo can give him a good fight. Danny and Pang Sen Jin from Singapore can give him a good fight in that race.
You made a very good point there, because it's almost a hybrid between the 100 and 400 meters, the 200 meters freestyle. Because of that, through the years, we've seen winners of the 100 meters freestyle become winners of the 200. And also, before that, the streak goes on to 200 and 400 winners side by side. And it's all been streaks through the years in the history of the SEA Games. So a little hybrid there. We've never really seen a 200 meter freestyle specialist anywhere in the world, have we?
That's right. I mean, in a 200 again, right? So what do you do? Do you do a 2-beat kick, which is more a distance kick, or do you do more a 6-beat kick, which is more a sprinter's kick? I think I see more and more of them actually doing a 6-beat kick. Is that something that they've trained a lot with, right? And that's why we've been able to see a lot of 100 swimmers be very good at the 200 meters. Obviously not the pure 50 meter sprinters. They're a little bit too bulky, too big to swim the 200, but we've seen a lot of 100 meter sprinters who've been able to move on to the 200 meter event.
Fans of Hua Ting Wen, who I know there are a lot of back home in Singapore, you'll be happy to note that she'll swim in her first 2 individual events at the SEA Games, and that happened to the 100 meters freestyle as well as the 50 meters butterfly. And also involved perhaps in the 4x200 meters freestyle relay at the end of the night, so it will be a packed schedule for Hua Tin-wen today. Right, heat number 1 of the men's 100 meters butterfly, and the records there tell the whole story in itself. A schooling in the SEA Games, a schooling at the Olympic Games, Olympic record. Let's not forget, it's not just the Asian record, it's also the Olympic record, and for the longest time until this year, the fastest swim ever in a textile suit. So heat number 1 features Dylan Khoo of Singapore, who finished 6th in the 50 meters of butterfly. He was 5th in this event in 2015. And there's also Glenn Sutanto of Indonesia in lane number 5, featured on screen here. Sutanto was 5th in the 50 fly, and he's been a medalist in this event in the last 4 SEA Games. 2nd in 2011 and 2015. 2015, of course, he lost out to Joe Schooling. In 2011, he lost out to Huang Ki-Fook of Vietnam. So he's taken it out very quickly alongside Dylan Khoo with Nguyen Van Dat, who finished 7th in the 200 meters butterfly, just slightly lagging behind along his Vietnamese compatriot Nguyen Ngoc Quinn, who was 5th in the 200 meters butterfly. So the morning swim, and it looks like a pure warm-up, not just for Sutanto, but you can see as well that Dylan Khoo is just going through his motions, probably in just his 2nd gear at most.
I think so. Both of them went out fairly quickly in the first 50, but I think they're backing up a little bit on the second 50 now that they'll probably make it through to the finals.
Most definitely 1 and 2, Indonesia and Singapore, Sutanto and Khoo. And then coming home in 3rd place is Nguyen Van Dat of Vietnam, followed by Nguyen Ngoc Quinn and Tia Ong of Myanmar, making up the field in the first heat of the men's 100 meters butterfly. 53.40 seconds. Of course, it's way off his personal best, Sutanto, who used to own the national record until last year at the Malaysian Open, when Triadi Fauzi, who is taking part in heat number 2, took that record away from him. But he has been probably Indonesia's best fly swimmer since the turn of the decade.
Yes, it was quite a surprise when Triadi broke the national record to me, because I think Triadi started off more as a freestyle specialist, right? More a sprinter, 50 to and then the 100-meter freestyle. But I guess there's a lot of similarities between the freestyle and the butterfly, and you do see a lot of swimmers doing that. Joseph Schooling, for example, also does that.
Absolutely right. What is it about the freestyle and the butterfly, Gerald? Because, I mean, through the years, it's not just them. You see the likes of even Peng Xiong himself, who used to be so good at both these events as well. I mean, what's the similarities between these 2 events that make them so good at swimming those 2 disciplines?
I think they're both power events, right? I mean, the strokes are fairly the same, just the one, you're alternating your arms, and the other one you're doing both together, but they're both very much power events, using a lot of upper body strength. So I think typically when a swimmer trains for one, they naturally get better at the other one as well.
Here we go now, Joe Schooling. Remember, of course, when he makes it to the final tonight, we are pretty sure of that, he is protecting a 10-race unbeaten record at the SEA Games in his individual event. Yesterday he led the team out in the 4x100 meters, and let's not forget as well on day 1, in probably the biggest ever winning margin in SEA Games history in 50 meters in any discipline, almost by a full second in the 50 meters butterfly. He clinched it, and he could have gone faster as well, because he was just a little bit over the 23-second mark in the 50 meters butterfly a couple of days ago. And they're getting ready to come on, and it'll be a real treat tonight when Joe comes on. Well, we're looking at the World Championships, and we were just talking about it the other day, Gerald. I know he finished 3rd at the World Championships, joint 3rd, but it's a little observation that I made about Schooling, about his willpower, and he admitted himself that he wasn't really on his A game over the past few years, going into the World Championships, but still, on your B game, there are few athletes around the world. We're talking of even the likes of Roger Federer and Tiger Woods, those athletes, they can be on their B games and still make it to the last 4 and still be in the top 3. And for Joseph to be on his B game and to actually still swim and race all his way onto the podium of the World Championships just speaks about the willpower of this boy.
Definitely. I mean, Joe took about 6 months off, right? And rightfully so after the Olympics. I mean, he's won the Olympics. He's trained years for it. I mean, people think they train like 1-2 years, but basically he trained his whole life for the Olympics. He deserved to take that break, and he only really started coming back training in the US sometime in December of last year. So it's only been half a year that he's been back in the pool. So I think that was a very good swim from him at the World Champs, despite just coming back from 6-month layoff.
And to be at your B game, win third placing, just goes to show you the standing that he has in the world rankings these days. But that swim at the Olympic Games, not just the final, but those 3 swims, really, it came from 2015 at the World Champs when he finished behind Leclos, that the world started really taking notice of him and saying that, this boy might just be special. As I said, in Southeast Asia, we've known that all along, but the world started taking notice in 2015, the Asian Games and Olympic champion.
Joe was really taking it slow from the start. You can see that his underwater kick is usually extremely aggressive, but he was just taking it so easy on that one.
Oh, this is an ego booster, of course, for the likes of Triadi Fauzi and just outside of Triadi Chantie of Malaysia, because if they beat Joe in this event, even if it's the heats, they're gonna just go around and tell everybody all about it. Just for a while, just for that little boast, make themselves happy for a moment. This is not the final, of course, so we're not going to count this down, even if Triadi takes it home as a defeat for Joe. And Joe, without even really trying, is still slowly going to inch ahead and probably just touch home maybe in second spots. A strong finish from him is going to take it still from Triadi, who thought for a while that he was going to beat an Olympic champion. And I think that little smile from Joe probably just says it all. He wasn't at, as I said, it's always gear 0.5 with schooling in terms of the heats, and he was at that pace, especially in the first 50 meters. He didn't really take it out at all, and then the last part, cruising home off the kick off the wall. He worked the kick off the wall and the breakout, and even at cruising speed, still got ahead and finished first in his heat.
He did. I think if you watch the second underwater, right, the turn off the wall, you can just see the difference in his butterfly kicks, right, from the start when he was taking it so easy versus up right off the wall. I think he came back a lot quicker on the second one, just to get a little bit of sprint in there, wake his body up a bit this morning, get ready for this afternoon, rather than just taking it easy all the entire race.
And maybe that's the reason why there was a little bit of a reaction from Joe right after that as well. Looking at the time and not even trying. He's there, and let's see what sort of appetite he is up for tonight. 53, as I said, without even trying. And if he's worked up an appetite for tonight, maybe the first ever swim in the SEA Games to go below 52 seconds or even below 51 seconds. You never know. I am pretty sure that it'll be the first swim in the SEA Games to go below 52 seconds tonight.
Yes, I mean, I'll be surprised if he doesn't go under 52. I mean, he's done that so many times. He can do it even during training sessions, right? So we'll probably see below 52. Below 51 could be tough. I mean, his best time is 50.39. But obviously that was done at the Olympics. I think with a lack of competition here, might be a little bit difficult for him to go under below 51 without any push.
Well, his best time this year was 50.78, swam at the World Championships, so he has gone below 51 this year. But as you said, without the competition and also the body tapering and all that, so that comes into play. But below 52 is certainly very, very doable, probably with his eyes closed as well, maybe with one hand tied behind him. So here we go, the women's 100 meters freestyle. Heat number 1. Well, in the last 5 editions, there have only been 2 winners, and they are both in the field. One of them is in this heat in lane number 5, Natanan Jongkrajang. Beside her, a lady that a lot of people feel might just surprise and win this event this year, Jasmine Alcalde in lane number 4.
Yeah, I mean, Jongkrajang, she's about 31 years old, which is quite surprising for a female swimmer. I mean, typically they don't swim past the late 20s, so it's good to see that she's still in there. But I think it also shows that a lack of progression from the Thai swimming circle, that she's still making the team at this age. Because I mean, in the past, you always get new blood coming in, new swimmers, younger, quicker swimmers. So while it's good to see a relatively older woman in the race, sometimes you wish that you would get the next generation of swimmers, like what Singapore has been doing with a lot of 14, 15-year-old girls coming into the team.
Well, she finished 3rd yesterday in the 400 freestyle, and she finishes second in her heats in the 100 freestyle, easily qualifying for the final with Jasmine Alcalde in the first place. And Alcalde is the national record holder, 55.94 seconds. So that's way off her national record, but same thing as well. She was just going through the motions, working on her first 50 more than anything else, and then cruising home. This is the lady. A lot of people feel that this might be her year. She suffered huge heartbreak. I remember in 2013, she actually won the 100 meters freestyle, and then because of a problem with the timing and scoring, they had to swim it all over again the next day. And the next day, Jung Krajang actually won it from her, and she finished in third spot. Obviously, when she came to the broadcast center after that, she was obviously in tears, because it would have been the first gold medal won by the Philippines since 1993 in female swimming. She thought she had it, and by rights, she should have been given it because of her swim in the first final. They swam it again, she lost, and then last year she lost out again. So she has always been amongst the medals, but this year she's been in very fine form. So a lot of people actually think her being the dark horse, she might just surprise everyone by winning this event in the final this evening. And she's looked very good in the heats this morning too for Jasmine Alcalde, fastest qualifier from heat number 1. And having said that, the Singaporean sisters, the Kwa sisters, might have a big say over whether Jasmine Alcalde does end the Filipina women wait for a gold medal in the SEA Games in swimming, because they too have clocked very quick times this year.
Yeah, and I guess they always have something extra in there when you're racing against your sibling, and they're side by side, right? So it'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see what the parents are doing, who the parents are rooting for.
Obviously, they will tell you, I'm happy if one of them wins the gold medal. They'll always tell you that. No parent is ever going to say, I'm going to pick one over the other. But it's good enough for them, of course, to be swimming side by side in this heat. And hopefully it happens in the final too. Tingwen having a little chat with Alcalde. Both of them pretty close, and we saw that as well after the 4x100 meters freestyle event just a couple of nights ago. And it was a couple of nights ago that her sister Jingwen, who is beside her, just stunned Southeast Asia with that swim in the 200 meters butterfly. So she's looking for her third gold medal in just her second games and her second individual gold medal. Tingwen's got the fastest time in Southeast Asia this year, and she's won this event in 2009 and 2015. She didn't compete in 2011, remember, because of her injuries.
That was such a bad start. The starter did not even wait for Tingwen to get on board the blocks.
Yeah, exactly. I was pretty surprised by it, because Tingwen actually turned around and looked to, well, was it Tingwen or Tingwen, who actually, one of them turned to the other and was talking, and then the next thing you know, the buzzer sounded.
Tingwen was trying to get the sister onto the blocks quicker, but at least it looks like it's okay.
Yeah, they're okay right now, but it does mean as well that they have to exert themselves just a little bit more, because by the time she got on board, it was time to take off already.
I'm sure Gary, the coach, is going to give her a couple of words. That should never ever happen. And I know this is still the heats, but you know, you do not take it for granted. Make sure, I mean, this is just a very unnecessary mistake that she did, where she did not get onto the blocks in time.
Now then again, if you think about it, it's the experience, isn't it? Sometimes, you know, that's where the experience counts. And she is still a very, very young swimmer, and she will still win this heat ahead of Sapian Chai Nguyen Tian Bien, who finished third at the last SEA Games, finishing third in this heat. So Tingwen, who has beaten her sister in this event this year already, wins her heat ahead of her sister as the final athlete from Timor-Leste. Our first Timor-Leste swimmer at the SEA Games, Imelda Bello, comes home to finish off heat number 2. So it started off as a little surprise for her, and maybe that sprang her right into the pool for that pretty quick swim in heat number 2.
I'm sure she got a little bit worried as well.
And look at Kwa Tingwen. And you can tell that Tingwen is, you can tell that she is really going at just probably 40% of her speed, because in the 100 meters race through the years, Kwa Tingwen is someone who takes it out so quick. She probably takes it out quicker than anybody else in Southeast Asia. She does most of her work in her first 50 meters. And this time around, though, she just relaxed after the 25-meter mark and worked on that breakout and that plunge inside. And maybe even a little bit worried about what happened with Tingwen as well,
yes,
his sister.
definitely. I mean, she was looking over at the sister, right? But yeah, you're right. Tingwen has got great speed, a lot of power. I mean, she's quite big. She's actually a lot taller and bigger than most of the competitors. So she uses that to her advantage, right? Using her power, her start, to get ahead at the first 50.
So the three national record holders of Vietnam, Singapore and Indonesia, Patricia Yosita, probably through to the finals. No, in fact, the Indonesian record holder, Patricia Yosita. And look at Kwa Ting Wen just making it 7th fastest qualifier. So she's just there, but the Indonesian record holder has missed out on the final this evening. Kwa Ting Wen, 2nd fastest qualifier, will be swimming beside Jasmine Alcaldi, the only swimmer to go below 57 seconds. And now the race that you've been looking forward to, the 200 meters freestyle for men. Winners of the past 6 editions, 3 of them are in heat number 1 alone. And that is the next race. There we go. The 3 winners that we're talking about in the past 6 editions are in lane 4, Danny Yeoh, and then Daniel Bago in 5, and Hoang Ki Phuoc of Vietnam. Been trying to get news of Hoang Ki Phuoc because he looked very, very off the pace in day number 1, but nothing has come in yet as to whether he is feeling all right and 100% for this meet. But he did not qualify for his first 2 individual finals, missing out in the heats and looking way off the pace. So we're wondering whether he's okay, but he's got the quickest time in Southeast Asia this year in the 200 meters freestyle. We talked about Wilson Sim and how well he has done. Well, Wilson has swum 1:48.50 this year, but the SEA Games record holder Hoang Ki Phuoc has swum 1:48.18 in Italy earlier this year. So if he does qualify for the final, it might be quite a race between him and Wilson if he qualifies for the final and is 100%. Danny Yeoh is in lane number 4, the 2011 champion who was 5th in this event in 2015. So the lane assignments, Jesse Lacuna in lane 2, Putra Muhammad Rada, who finished 8th in the 400 meters freestyle, is in lane 3, Danny Yeoh of course in 4. Our first sighting of Daniel Bago. What a swimmer he has been for Malaysia through the years. He's in lane number 5. He won this 3 in a row between 05 to 09. Siwat Matakampong of Thailand in 6, and then Hoang Ki Phuoc, the 2-time defending champion. Remember his best time this year, 1:48.18. He is in lane 7 and turning first, but this is what happened with Ki Phuoc the other day as well. He actually led after 50 meters and then trailed off in his previous 2 events.
I enjoy watching Daniel Bago swim a lot. I mean, he's another amazing talent. He's obviously a lot older than his competitors right now. I think he was injured for a little bit, or he quit swimming for a little while. But I mean, he's such a talent, and I love watching his 200 freestyle because he always negative splits it. He takes it out very easy on the first 2 laps, and he just comes home roaring home on the second 2 laps. So always very exciting to watch him swim.
The thing about Daniel Bago, it was one of the saddest stories in Southeast Asian swimming because he really was at his pomp around about 2009, 2008, 2009. He was unbeatable in Southeast Asia, and then he had that shoulder injury. It was a horrific injury, and you know what it is, Gerald? I mean, you've been through this as well. After you get those shoulder injuries, and it takes a toll on you, especially with the butterfly and freestyle. Those are the races he swims in. After taking a toll, they always tell you it's recovery and rest. Well, he did the former, but he did not get the rest. They put him back in the pool again, and then he broke down before the 2011 SEA Games, and he's never been the same since.
Yes, that's right. I mean, swimmers naturally always get shoulder injury, right? I mean, imagine it. They probably train maybe between 8K to 10K a session, possibly. And talking about 10 sessions a week, it takes a toll on your shoulders, right? And it's tough when you're trying to train, rest, recover, but you've got competitions coming up. What do you do then? How do you balance the different parts of resting, training, and recovery? So yeah, you're absolutely right. He was unbeatable back in 2009, and it was really a pity that he got injured at that time that he did.
Well, he's qualified for the finals, and at least at home in front of his home crowd, he's going to get a great reception tonight. being in the final, so we'll see that. And he's not going to give it up yet because he still wants one final gold medal, or at least one final medal in front of his home fans. But Hwang Ki-fook has won the first heat, and this is the Hwang Ki-fook that we have known for the last 4 years, because this is Hwang Ki-fook back in form after a very dismal and a chromic display in the first day of competition. As I said, no news came through as to whether he was feeling 100% or what happened to him on the first day, but this is more like the Vietnamese swimmer we know, who has won 4 gold medals already in his SEA Games career. The man with the most gold medals in Vietnamese swimming, even going past the very famous Nguyen U Viet. Ki-fook by a second, almost a second, over Danny Yeo, and Danny Bago in third with Lacuna of the Philippines in fourth. Surely those 4 safely through to the finals, and it'll be wonderful, isn't it, just to hear that reception for Daniel Bago tonight from the home crowd. All right, the big reception will also go to Wilson Sim, of course, because he is now taken over Daniel Bago as Malaysia's new golden boy in swimming. He's won the 400 meters freestyle already. He is going for the triple in these games in the 200, 400 and 1500. Pang Shengjin, who tried to keep pace with him in the 400 meters freestyle, only to finish in 4th spot. Will be swimming beside Wilson yet again in lane 4. To Wilson's right will be the Indonesian who finished second to him in the 400 meters freestyle, Apla Fladan. Wilson's got a best time of 1:48.50, at least in 2017. And that he swam while winning the Malaysian Open. So the lane assignments: lane 2, Kong Tut Ant of Myanmar, Aplan Fadlan of Indonesia in lane 3, Wilson Sim of Malaysia in 4, Pang Shengjin of Singapore in 5, Seri Pansamon in 6, and Tran Tan Chio of Vietnam in lane number 7. Just the other day, Gerald, in the 400 meters freestyle, all Wilson did in the heats was just work on his first and final 50 in the 400 meters freestyle. The rest of it in between, we hardly saw any sort of splashes coming from his legs at all, so it was to be kicked all the way in the middle of the race for the 400 freestyle in the heats.
Likewise for now too. I mean, look at him, he's taking it, looking very smooth, very controlled, very easy strokes. We'll see if he goes faster in the last 50, but I doubt he needs to waste the energy. Probably want to save it for this evening's finals.
Yeah, that's right. I think on that first day in itself, he worked quick on that first and final 50 just to get a taste of the pool, but he has got a taste already after 2 days of competition. Remember, winning the 400 meters freestyle in record time, and then bringing the team home in the 4x100 meters freestyle yesterday and finishing second just behind Singapore. So he's got a convoy beside him at the moment, the cavalcade of Fadla and Shengjin, which is trailing behind Wilson, an easy winner in heats number 2. And Shengjin really has probably got to work a little bit tonight on maybe head more than body, because his tactics the other day with Wilson Sim might be a very quick time below 150 as well, because he is going for it in the final 50, just above 150. That was a very quick time for a heat.
I'm very surprised he wasn't backing off. He looked like he was going quicker in the last 50. I mean, he should have just backed off unless he's feeling really good. We'll see what happens tonight.
Well, like what I said, it's the same thing as he did at the 400 the other day. He went fast in the first 50, and then he came back strong in the final 50. And in between, it was just, you know, a nice stroll in the park. This time around, the final 50, he went for it again. Well, there is something about swimming in front of your home fans. Somehow, And even the other day, he admitted as well that he went out in the 400 meters freestyle faster than he's ever done before, and probably tired himself out in the final 50 meters in trying to break his national record.
It's the adrenaline, right? I mean, first day, first event, the home crowd is there, you know, and in the 400 meter, obviously strategy is very important. You kind of want to save some energy for the second half of the race, but, you know, the nerves got to him. He took it out a little bit hard, but I mean, it's still fine. I mean, he's now gotten that first gold medal in his bag, so you know, he's probably going to be a lot more relaxed in this event. And I don't think he's the defending champion.
No, it's Kee Fook of Vietnam, the two-time defending champion. And Wilson has said as well that Kee Fook will start as favorites for this, you know, and that's the only one that probably will prevent him from winning 3 of 3 events. Talking about the tactics and strategy, I was just mentioning it before. I was looking at the clock for Wilson's final 25 meters. Pang Sheng-jin, the other day in the 400 meters freestyle, he tried to stay with Wilson in the opening 100 of the 400 meters freestyle and then tired out in the end, and he probably might have to rethink his strategy tonight in trying to stay with the leaders. I don't know about that.
I think so. In the 200, you'll see a lot of different strategies, right? I mean, you know, I think Kee Fook, as we saw this morning in the first heat, Kee Fook took it out fast. That's likely what he'll do this evening as well, take it out fast and try to hold on. And then on the other side, you've got Daniel Bagel, who's known for his second half, right? I mean, he likes to negative split his races. So 200 is always very interesting to see, because whoever turns first at the first 100, even if he's up by, you know, a few meters, you never know what's going to happen in the second half. Because in the 200 freestyle race, the second half can really hit you, especially your legs. You just drain, you know, the last 50, the last 25. You feel like your arms and your legs are rocks. Don't really go anywhere.
Well, Wilson Sim qualifies as the fastest, the only one below 151, and then Hwang Kee-fook joins him as the only ones below 152. And then the rest of the field make up for the 200 meters freestyle, including the 2 Singaporeans, Danny Yeo and Pang Sheng-jin, and of course Daniel Bagel, the 3-time champion from 2005 to 2009. Make for a very interesting race tonight in the 200 free, and most likely we might see a new record as well in that event. 1:48.96 was the record set by Hwang Kee-fook in 2015. And I can tell you that both Wilson and Kee-fook have already swum below that time this year in 2017 alone. Our final heat for the morning from the Bukit Jalil Aquatic Center is the women's 50 meters butterfly, and that'll see Kwa Ting-wen in her second individual race of these SEA Games. Nicole To, who finished 7th in the 200 meters butterfly, also joins her side by side with her in heat number 2. And Nguyen Thi Vien, who was 4th in this event in 2015, not known really for her 50 meters, has decided to just try it out. For her, it's fun, isn't it? Fun and games, the 50 meters, trying it out, and it's more, she almost uses those 50 meters races as a warm down for her, more than anything else.
I mean, she's much more of a distance swimmer, middle to distance swimmer, so I'm surprised to see her name in this 50-meter butterfly. I mean, she's swimming 11 events, I think, at this SEA Games, so this is just a walk in the park for her.
That's right. Thi Vien's already a 3-time gold medalist at these SEA Games. She will be in Heat 2 alongside Ting-wen, national record holder, and Janjira Srisad, probably the dark horse of the event. She is in Heat 1 from Thailand. Thai national record holder, Jasmine Alkaldi, whom we've seen already looking very impressive in the 100 meters freestyle. Swims in her second event to this time the same heat as Ting-wen in heat number 2. So the girls get ready to go. These are the swimmers who will be featured in heat number 2. And right in front, figure of Thi Vien is featured in heat 1, so they haven't been called up by the technical officials yet to get up to get ready to look at the races this evening. I think those 2 freestyle races, Gerald, will be pretty intriguing tonight. The 100 meters freestyle, I mean the 100 meters butterfly, of course, they're all fighting for second spots. We all know that. But the 100 meters freestyle and 200 meters freestyle for women's and men's respectively, that could prove to be very interesting and probably very close as well.
No, definitely, I think so. I'm actually looking forward to the men's 200 meter freestyle. it's going to be an extremely exciting race, with Key Folk and Wilson, and obviously we've got Danny Yeo in there, Sung Jin in there. I think it's going to be fairly close, but, again, mentioned earlier, everyone's got different strategies. It's going to be an exciting race throughout. You never know who's going to win, even after the turn at the 150. And for the 100-meter freestyle, women's 100-meter freestyle, that's one of the flagship races again, right? Other than the 50-meter freestyle, we'll going to see a very strong competition among the girls in that race. And I'm looking forward to see how quick Jingwen can go. She's obviously in shape at this game, and she looked really good this morning during the heats as well.
Yeah, and while she's looking good, let's not forget that Tingwen's got the best time this year. And let's not discount as well Jasmine Al-Khaldi, because she also looked very good in her first heat, swimming and taking it easy for the final 50 meters, and yet still qualifying as the fastest qualifier.
She did, yeah. And one name that we didn't mention during the 100-meter freestyle for women was Tian Van, right? I mean, that's one name that I was surprised that we didn't even bring it up.
Yep. I mean, we usually mention her, but she's more accustomed to the 200 disciplines of the events, and 100 freestyle, she hasn't won it yet. It was one of many races which is uncharted territories for her. The next one as well, 50 meters butterfly. I mean, she's won in 9 different events already. It'll be amazing if she actually wins in the 100 meters freestyle and make it gold medals in 10 different events at the Seagames. It will be far-fetched, I would say, but looking at this morning's heat, I think the 2 Singaporeans and probably Jasmine Al-Khaldi, whom a lot of people have actually tipped to win the 100 meters freestyle this time out, as the 3 to actually go for the medals, and who between the 3 for the gold, we don't know.
I think you're right again. Probably it'll be a race between the 2 Singaporean sisters and Jasmine from the Philippines. But I don't think you can count out Tian Van, right? The first day, the first event, she didn't do well, and she's done amazing since then. And obviously her 100-meter backstroke, she did really well. She won by a lot. So you know that she's got a little bit of speed in her. So in the 100 free, she's probably an outside chance, but we'll see what happens this evening.
Well, we say that, of course, she did win a medal at 2015 in the 100 meters freestyle as well, Nguyen Tian Bien. The 50 meters butterfly, probably that's the one that's too far-fetched for Tian Bien, but you'll never know with that lady. She will spring surprises from nowhere, as we still await the swimmers to come out for the 50 meters butterfly event. And what about Tingwen for today as well, Gerald? Because it's going to be a packed schedule for her, the 100 meters freestyle, then the 50 meters butterfly, and surely she will be swimming alongside Jingwen and probably Amanda as well in the 200 meters freestyle, the 4x200 meters freestyle at the end of the night.
That's a tough triple that she has.
Exactly.
I mean, I totally forgot about the relay until you just mentioned it, right? I was just going to say, yeah, she's got a 100-meter freestyle, she's got a 50-meter butterfly. Those tend to be quite short events. I think she'll be fine. But the 200 freestyle at the end, the third event, that's one of the most painful events within the swimming schedule. So, we'll probably again see the Singapore team do likewise, where they'll let her anchor that relay, give her a little bit more time to rest. But hopefully by the time she jumps in the pool for that relay on the last leg, Singapore will be way ahead at that time, right? By that time.
Yeah, hopefully the lead will be unassailable by then. Well, they're hoping for Al-Khaldi to produce that gold medal. The Thais have also, there we go, the Filipino flag flying high, hoping that tonight will be the night which ends that 24-year wait for the gold medal. But we're just talking about it, the 4x200 meters freestyle. The other day, of course, on the first day of competition, they decided to rest Tingwen from the 100 meters backstroke in order for her to swim in the 4x100 meters freestyle. And today they're saying, no, let's go all out. Tingwen, you're used to the pool already, and all 3 events she's taking part in. I know you're saying that there's a little bit more time to rest, being the 4th leg swimmer of the 4x200 meters freestyle. The schedule is punishing, though. Jingwen is also going to be inside, most likely. I'm looking at probably Amanda as well, and then another swimmer. Singapore will most likely, unless there's a huge surprise coming from the likes of Tian Bien, if she's interested in taking part in the relay events, Singapore most likely will retain their title in the 4x200.
Very likely. And I think on the first day we saw Tingwen scratch her individual event to focus on the relay, because that one, the Singapore team expected a much tougher competition versus Thailand and the other countries. Whereas I think in today's relay, a different ball game. Singapore is very much a hot favorite, so the race shouldn't be as close as what we saw in the 4x100 meter freestyle relay.
Well, I can tell you that they might be gunning for the national record that they set the new Seagames record in the 4x100 meters freestyle, but it will be a tough ask because the national record is the only Southeast Asian quartet to go below 8:10, 8:09.91. That was Singapore's very own version of what their men's relay team was yesterday, their very own female dream team of Ting Wen, Amanda, Mylene and Lynette Lim. When you look at those four names there, and you're not surprised they hold the record which was set at the 2009 World Championships. Finally, the swimmers are out for the 50 meters butterfly for women. Our final heats of this morning. Remember, the 200 meters backstroke goes straight to the final, and Kwa Tung Wen will be involved with that alongside Francis Fong. And we'll be bringing you all of that from 7 p.m. on Octo Sports. The first heats of the 50 meters butterfly, Hem Tonvitini of Cambodia in lane 2, Adinda Larasati, who finished 5th in the 200 meters butterfly and 2nd in the 100 meters backstroke, she's in lane 3. Janjira Srisaad of Thailand, the national record holder, in 4. Nurul Fajar Fitriati, who was 8th in 2015, she's in 5. Aline Tan of Malaysia in 6, and the Vietnamese national record holder Nguyen Diep Phong Tham is in lane number 7. Reaction time was very, very quick indeed from Adinda Larasati in lane number 3, and so too Janjira Srisaad, and it is the Thai who has taken a very quick lead. We saw already yesterday in the breaststroke how quick she is off the blocks. It's just maintaining it after the 25-meter mark that she probably doesn't have in her tank.
She's got very, very good start, right? Exactly. We saw it in the event yesterday and today's event again, right off the bat. Very quick start, very quick underwater kicks to really lead the field right from the get-go.
And she probably prefers this to the breaststroke for events like this, and she swims in every 50 event and is the Thai record holder in all the 50 events in every stroke, all because of this, the start. There we go, yet again off the blocks very quickly, and probably she prefers the butterfly and the freestyle events of the 50 meters more than anything else, more than the 50 meters breaststroke, because once she gets into the water she doesn't have that stamina to complete it as quickly as she starts it. You know, the butterfly and freestyle probably takes a much faster time to complete than the breaststroke.
Yeah, it does. And I think again, like we spoke about earlier, butterfly and freestyle tend to be complementary strokes as well, so I think that's where her strengths lie.
So Janjira Srisaad safely through to the final, we can say, finishing first in her heat, almost half a body length ahead of her nearest competitors. We'll have a look at the time, because her Thai national record, 27.24 seconds. She actually went very fast. A lot of it was from the mojo and momentum taken off 27.81. A lot of it was from the momentum of the blocks, and the only swimmer to dip below 28 seconds in Heat 1. Fitriati and Adinda probably safely through as well, when Diep Trong a little off her national record. So Kwa Ting Wen goes in heat number 2 alongside Nicole To, and let's not forget as well Jasmine Al-Khaldi, and in lane number 1 Nguyen Tian Vien, who actually finished 4th in this event in 2015. She's admitted through the years that she does take these events, the 50 meters, to work on her strokes more than anything else. Nicole To finished 7th in the 200 meters butterfly a couple of nights ago in her Seagames debut. She really has come to prominence over the last couple of years, the youngster. The future looks bright for her. That's the figure of Sopathana Chamberlain from Thailand and Kwa Ting Wen of Singapore. Ting Wen's got the quickest time in Southeast Asia this year, 27.04 seconds. The time she set at the Singapore National Swim Champs. It is a very quick reaction time off the blocks by Kwa Ting Wen. A superb start from her already. Chamberlain struggling right off the bat, and Kwa Ting Wen with half a body length ahead of her nearest challengers, and Nguyen Thi Vien is not too far behind as well in lane number 1.
Ting Wen was the only one who used her 15 meters all the way to the end, right? So she was the last one to come out, but when she surfaced, she was just ahead, faster than all her competitors.
It's one thing that we've noticed about Kwa Ting Wen through the years. Her underwater is probably, in terms of female swimming, you could safely say the best in Southeast Asia. And she uses those dolphin kicks to near perfection. Great streamlines off the turns and great breakouts as well. It's one thing that she's lived and breathed by since she's appeared in the scene. And the moment, she started with those long distance events. At the moment she went into sprints from 2009 onwards, that's what she has been so strong at. We failed to see that, what Gerald was talking about, her underwaters, but we can tell you that it was almost near perfect. That was what she was working on, and that was what carried her to the finish in heat number 2. So she's looking good for the final of this event.
She is hot favorite to win the gold in this event. Doesn't look like she's too tired as well.
Well, it's just the heats tonight. She will be pushed a lot more, especially in the 100 meters freestyle. This one, she does look hot favorite to retain the gold medal that's been won for Singapore by Tao Li in the previous 2 editions in 2011 and 2015. Ting Wen ahead of Al-Khaldi, and the 2 of them alongside Janjira Srisa are the only ones to dip below 28 seconds. Nguyen Thi Vien just sneaking into the grand finals tonight. And it's so Singapore, Nicole To and Kwa Ting Wen have made the finals. Jasmine Al-Khaldi is there too. And Janjira Srisa, with her very quick reaction time off the blocks, might be a dark horse in the final this evening in the women's 50 meters butterfly. It's all at 7 p.m. Remember, the men's 100 meters butterfly, the 100 meters freestyle for women, the 200 meters freestyle for men, the 50 meters butterfly for women, men's 200 meters backstroke, and it ends with the 4x200 meters freestyle relay. Look at the qualifiers from all the heats this morning, and remember, of course, you can catch all the action from 7 p.m. from the Bukit Jalil Aquatic Center on Octo Sports this evening.